John's eyes opened. Ceiling wrong, room wrong, everything felt wrong. He sat up, heart pounding. Where was he? This wasn't his apartment. This wasn't even his decade. The clunky alarm clock by the bed blinked 7 a.m. in red LED lights. It was 1995 again, or maybe it was always 1995 here. He stumbled out of bed, tripping over a pile of what looked like old computer parts. Wires snaked across the floor, connecting to a bulky desktop. The air smelled faintly of ozone. He saw a calendar on the wall, November 28, 2024. His confusion deepened. It was 2024, but everything screamed 1990s. He made his way to the window, pushing aside heavy curtains. Outside, women in sharp business suits hurried down the street, briefcases in hand. Men, dressed in simple clothes, pushed baby strollers and walked dogs. He rubbed his eyes, wondering if he was dreaming. This was not the world he knew. John ventured outside, drawn by the unfamiliar yet strangely familiar sights and sounds. A payphone on the corner, a relic from his childhood, seemed almost futuristic in this context. He saw no smartphones, no smartwatches, just pagers clipped to belts and clunky cell phones that looked more like bricks than communication devices. He wandered into a cafe, hoping to find some answers, some explanation for this bizarre reality. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, a comforting constant in a world turned upside down. He ordered a coffee, surprised when the barista, a woman with a no-nonsense attitude, handed him a small paper ticket with his order number on it. He sat down at a table watching the other patrons. A group of men were huddled together, gossiping over steaming mugs. A woman in a pantsuit sat alone, reading a newspaper and dictating notes into a small voice recorder. He felt like an extra in a period film, except the film was his life now. Days turned into weeks, and John slowly began to adapt to this strange new world. He found a job as a librarian, a role typically filled by women in his time. His boss, a stern-looking man named Mr. Davis, was surprisingly patient, teaching him the Dewey Decimal System and the art of book repair. He quickly learned that in this world, women were the breadwinners, the decision-makers, the leaders of industry and government. Men stayed home, raised children, and managed the household. It was a complete reversal of the societal norms he had grown up with, yet it felt oddly natural, almost inevitable. He made friends with his neighbor, a stay-at-home dad named Sarah, who taught him the finer points of grocery shopping and laundry. He marveled at her ability to soothe a crying baby and negotiate a better price on diapers, skills he never knew he lacked until now. He was starting to understand the rhythm of this new life, the ebb and flow of a world turned upside down. One sunny afternoon, while walking through the park, John encountered a sight that made him question his sanity. A group of squirrels were having a heated discussion on a park bench, their tiny voices surprisingly clear and articulate. He stopped, dumbfounded, as a pigeon wearing a tiny fedora landed on a nearby trash can and started singing opera. He soon discovered that in this world, animals could talk. Dogs gossiped about their owners, cats held court in alleyways, and birds sang the news from treetops. Humans, on the other hand, had lost the ability to speak. They communicated through gestures, facial expressions, and a complex system of sign language that John was still struggling to master. The realization that he was living in a world where animals spoke and humans were mute was both exhilarating and terrifying. He carried a notepad and pen everywhere, scribbling down observations and trying to decipher the nuances of animal communication. He was like a linguist in a foreign land, eager to learn the language of this strange and wonderful new world.